Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. Hope Valley had always been a place where time seemed to move with a gentler rhythm. But as 2025 settled in, a strange, electric anticipation hung in the air, something that townspeople couldn't quite explain but felt in every sunrise, every church bell, and every unexpected knock on a neighbor's door. It was as though the valley itself knew change was coming long before anyone dared to whisper about it. And in the heart of that change was Elizabeth, who found herself standing at her blackboard one chilly morning, staring at her lesson plans, yet thinking about everything except arithmetic and reading. The new year had stirred something inside her, unnamed restlessness mixed with excitement. Almost as if Hope Valley had opened a new chapter, not just for the town, but for her own heart as well. Her quiet moments had become filled with thoughts she tried to push away and emotions she didn't want to name too soon. She had promised herself she would let life unfold naturally. Yet life had its own mischievous way of rearranging her plans. Meanwhile, the town was alive with a brand new flurry of news. Not the dramatic, heart-stopping crises they sometimes faced, but subtle shifts, conversations behind closed doors. Unexpected visitors stepping off stagecoaches, new friendships forming, and small but powerful decisions that would shape the entire year ahead. Hope Valley in 2025 was preparing for transitions unlike anything townspeople had experienced before. One of the first rumors that quietly spread through the saloon was the arrival of a man no one knew. An archivist sent by the provincial government to document the history of pioneer towns. At least that was his official reason. But anyone who looked closely sensed there was something more behind his calm, observant eyes. The miner's shift bell had just rung the first time he walked into town, and the sound seemed to follow him as though greeting an old friend, though some brushed it off as coincidence. Others whispered it meant he had some deeper connection to Hope Valley. By the end of the week, he had already charmed a handful of residents with stories from faraway places and a sense of humor that could soften even the sternest expression. But the person he most intrigued, quite unexpectedly, was Rosemary Coulter. Rosemary had met countless newcomers before, but something about the mystery of this quiet historian fascinated her. It wasn't romantic, of course, but rather a curious spark that awakened her journalist's instincts. She felt more strongly than she had in years that a big story was unfolding right in front of her, and if anyone in Hope Valley could uncover it, 'twas Rosemary. While Rosemary began her investigative dance, Lee found himself swept up in an entirely different whirlwind. The sawmill's production had nearly doubled after the holidays due to a surprising number of new orders from communities. Beyond the valley, Lee, who always loved a challenge, threw himself into the work with enthusiasm. But even he couldn't hide the strain of long hours and constant problem-solving. Rosemary could sense it immediately and put her foot down. Lee Coulter would not be allowed to burn himself out. Not on her watch. But then came an unexpected twist. A letter was delivered to their house bearing a formal seal neither of them recognized. It wasn't from family nor from any business partner Lee knew. Rosemary watched as Lee opened it with cautious fingers, and the moment he read the first line, his eyes widened with disbelief. The letter invited him to a regional leadership council in Union City, a role that had the potential to pull him away from Hope Valley for weeks at a time. It was a prestigious offer. It was also a terrifying one as Lee wrestled with the decision. Rosemary found herself torn between wanting to support his dreams and fearing what his absence might do to their little family. It forced them into long, vulnerable conversations that tested not their love, but their vision of the future. Hope Valley had always been their home, yet opportunity often demanded sacrifice. The couple would soon learn that 2025 had far bigger plans for them than either expected. Meanwhile, over at the cafe, Bill Avery was experiencing a personal challenge of his own. The former judge had always been strong, decisive, and stubborn, but recently he found himself unexpectedly reflective. A medical checkup had revealed something he hadn't been ready to confront, a complication that required him to slow down. And slowing down was the last thing Bill Avery knew how to do. Instead, he kept the news to himself, planning to quietly handle it without worrying his friends. But Hope Valley had a way of uncovering hidden truths. One afternoon, Nathan noticed Bill struggling to catch his breath after carrying boxes to the jailhouse. Bill brushed it off with a joke, but Nathan, with his protective instincts and his deep respect for Bill, wasn't convinced. When he gently pressed the issue later, Bill snapped more harshly than he meant. The tension between them lingered for days, and the town felt the strain. Nathan knew something was wrong, but Bill refused to let anyone in. Yet, despite the personal battles brewing beneath the surface, Nathan himself found the new year filled with surprising clarity. For months, he had lived under the shadow of unresolved emotions, lingering questions, and fears of repeating past heartbreaks. But with every sunrise of 2025, he felt a new sense of determination taking form. He didn't talk about it openly, yet everyone around him sensed a quiet shift in him, especially Allie, who always knew more than she let on. Allie, now older and blossoming into a confident young woman, had been facing her own turning point. A letter from a prestigious academy had arrived the previous month, offering her a spot in a special arts program, something she had dreamed of but never spoken about because she didn't want Nathan to feel she was moving away from him. When the acceptance letter came, she hid it for days, unsure how to tell him. But the weight of her secret eventually became too heavy. The scene that followed was one of the most emotional moments Hope Valley had witnessed in years. Allie sat down with Nathan, her eyes full of fear that he would be hurt or disappointed. But Nathan's reaction stunned her. He didn't hesitate, didn't waver, didn't second-guess anything. He simply pulled her close and told her that dreams were meant to be chased, not shelved away. And if her dreams took her far beyond Hope Valley, she would still never be far from his heart. It was a moment that softened the entire future between them, one that gave Nathan an unexpected sense of peace. As for Elizabeth, she found herself standing at the crossroads of multiple surprises. A series of unexpected letters arrived at her house, some from former students now grown and working in distant towns, others from parents hoping she would accept new children into her classroom, and one that came with no signature at all, containing a single line, "You've changed my life more than you know." It wasn't written romantically, but the mystery of it lingered with her. But the biggest change came when the school board announced a new system of inter-community exchanges. They wanted Hope Valley School to become the central training site for teachers from other pioneering towns. It was a major honor, one Elizabeth accepted with enthusiasm, but the responsibility meant she would soon be teaching not just children, but teachers as well. She felt both pride and the weight of expectation, and she couldn't help wondering if this new role was preparing her for a transformation in her personal life. Yet, while the town was adjusting to changes, the annual Winter Festival approached hand this year. It came with a twist no one expected. A performer once famous in traveling theater circles arrived in town, claiming she wanted to start over and leave her stage life behind. She introduced herself as Celeste Turner, a woman with a past full of applause but a present filled with unanswered questions. Celeste captured instant attention. Her grace, her smile, her soft yet compelling voice, all of it made her a mystery wrapped in elegance. But it wasn't her beauty that spoke loudest. It was the sense of melancholy she tried so hard to hide, though she insisted she came to Hope Valley simply to begin a quieter life. Some sensed she was running from something or someone. Little did the townspeople know that Celeste's presence would soon shake Hope Valley's comfortable rhythm in ways no one could foresee. Almost immediately, Rosemary felt a spark of suspicion and curiosity. Why would a celebrated performer choose a small town like Hope Valley as the place to disappear? And why did she seem so startled whenever someone mentioned traveling theater companies? Rosemary attempted to befriend her gently, but Celeste kept certain parts of her history locked away. As a result, Rosemary's fascination grew even stronger. Henry Gowan, too, found himself drawn into Celeste's orbit. Not because of any romantic interest, but because she reminded him of someone from his past, someone he had failed. Celeste's careful pauses, the way she measured her words, the way she avoided discussing her own dreams, it all felt heartbreakingly familiar. Henry approached her with respect, offering help if she ever needed it. What surprised him, however, was that Celeste actually accepted. This simple act of trust began a quiet but meaningful friendship between them, one that would end up revealing more about Henry's healing journey than about Celeste's hidden story. But the biggest surprise came during the Winter Festival performance night. Celeste insisted she didn't want to be in the spotlight, yet when she stepped onto the stage to help a nervous young girl who forgot her lines during a short play, something magical happened. Without planning,